Hi, Mike.
Hey,
Hello,
how you doing?
doing okay.
I'm tired of being cooped up.
What up, Mike?
Same.
How you doing?
Doing good.
Okay, I'm missing some people, but I'm gonna get started.
All right.
Mike,
Yeah,
you watch any of the master classes yet?
yeah.
Which ones did you watch?
I just watched the Jimmy Chin one, the photographer.
Oh yeah,
Do you have it?
my sister does.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I was watching the Neil Gaiman one, and it's really cool.
I just started that one, so I haven't seen too much. The Jimmy Chin one's really cool. It's a little more up my alley. Not that I'm an adventurer or whatever,
Uh-huh.
but just there's certain things about his approach make sense to me about with sketching and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I also love what was really good about it, which I thought was interesting, is the way they broke it up. And that's the first one I've watched. I just started the Neil Gaiman one. I'm really interested in the cooking ones too.
Yeah, those are cool too. And they
But
just
he
came out
was
with a
talking
gardening one,
about
too.
he talked a lot about sort of the business around it and how he works, because he works with giant, National Geographic, and he goes on these expeditions. And I mean, the guy's like a really incredible guy. And then he started off as like a dirtbag climber in Yosemite. And the one part he didn't talk about, which I always think is weird when they don't, is he doesn't talk about how he actually learned all his craft. Because he didn't go to college for it, I don't think. Because he went to college for like Asian studies or something.
Yeah, that's weird.
But anyway, he fell into the climber culture. And if you know anything about climber culture, it's a very unique culture. And became really good at that and all that. And then, became a photographer of that kind of stuff. And the stuff he does is just like incredible. I mean, he climbed Everest and they like skied Everest. I mean, that's totally insane. And when you look at the pictures of it and the pictures of these things he does, and then like he was talking early on, when he was really young, he didn't know any better, which sometimes is good. And he went to this like famous photographer who was doing that kind of stuff, and he was nobody. He hadn't done anything. And he showed up with the guy. I forgot the guy's name. And he goes, "Is Gaylord here?" Or whatever. And they're like, "Who are you?" Because the guy's like famous. He's got a gallery and all this stuff. And he's like, "I'm Jimmy." And they're like, "Yeah, he's got stuff to do." But they're being nice, so they're like, "Well, you can wait over there." So he waited all day for this guy, right? And then they came out at the end of the day and they go, "Yeah, maybe you can come back tomorrow." Not thinking he'd come back tomorrow. Comes back the next day, waits all day, same thing happened. He did it like for 4 days or all week or something, just hung around in the guy's lobby or whatever. And then like at the end of the week, the guy finally came out and he goes, "Okay, so I guess you're Jimmy, right? You're the guy that's been here." And then took him upstairs. He goes, "All right, I'll give you 2 hours of my time, undivided time," which is a really cool thing to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, that started sort of a mentorship. And then he went on this expedition with those guys. Basically, I think he's the low guy on the totem pole, just like, I don't know what exactly he did, probably hauling gear and stuff, but he did it to learn. And he went on this crazy expedition to, I forgot where it even was, like, I mean, middle of nowhere. And this place is like, I guess, fairly unexplored and unclimbed. And then they'd run out of food. They still had 100 miles, I guess, to hike to get out of there. And as they're all these guys are like super badasses. And as they're, going through this journey, then they all go, "Hey, look at those towers, these, rock formations or whatever. They're God knows how high." And that Jimmy guy's like, "Yeah, cool, And they go, "Okay, cool, let's climb it." He's like, "We're out of food. We got 100 miles to go. Now you guys want to climb this thing?" But that's just the way those people are. But anyway, he learned his craft basically by doing that. And he knows a shit ton about photography and all that stuff. So I'm assuming he's just self-taught and all that. But I mean, it's an incredible. And then, he shows pictures of these places he's been. You're like, God, it's just what that camera, the world that camera opened up to that guy is incredible. You know,
Mhm.
and that's what I always try to get through to students. Is like, like all these incredible things can happen to you through this skill set. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
This skill set can open doors that you know, and give you a way in to meet people you never would have thought you would have met. And I don't just mean famous people. I just mean incredibly talented artists and things. You know what I mean? But you got to go and have the balls to do that. You know what I mean? Just to go in there and go, hey,
Yeah.
I want to meet with this dude. You know? And I'd say now it might be a little hard, might be a little easier. But the one thing that is easier is you can easily email somebody now. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
When I was a kid, you know, you couldn't do that. There was really no way into, you know, these guys all seemed like mythical beings when I was a kid that you couldn't look over their shoulder on their blog and none of that stuff. I mean, if you got lucky, you saw some little thing in a magazine about them or something like that. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
you didn't know what their address was or anything like that, you know? But anyway, you should watch, if you get a chance, watch that one. It's really good. But he goes through his whole process. And what's interesting about him is he comes out of that culture, but he's super professional. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was talking about setting up a shoot. I hadn't thought about it, but when you do that kind of a shoot, he's got to get a safety team together. He's got to get the climbers together, and they've got to be of a high caliber. They can't just be anybody. They got to be serious people because it's dangerous. Then he's got to climb with them to get those shots. And then transportation, they might have to get helicopters to get into these places. Like, it's a huge thing to do these shoots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These people don't want, he talks about one, like Canon did one, and he goes, hey, I can get that kind of look. He goes, but like in a lower altitude, this place. I'm like, no, we want that high altitude, that's what we want. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Which is interesting because I would have thought they would have been the other way, but they weren't.
Yeah.
But like he's at a super high caliber, you know?
What was his name? Jimmy. What?
Jimmy Chin, Chin. And then I want to watch I love photography probably because I suck at it, but I want to watch the Annie Leibovitz one. She's another one that's like I admire a lot. But look outside your what do you call that? Skill area. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I like to look at people who do what I do and all that too, but I really like looking at people who might do ballet or opera just to hear their process and how they think about it, you know, because it's still an artistic process one way or the other, you know.
Yeah.
And let me get a screen grab here. Oh. Wait, I gotta unshare my screen for a second. Wait, maybe not.
I'm always watching like archaeology stuff
Yeah.
and people who like study foreign like old world cultures and things like that.
Uh-huh.
That's the type of stuff I like.
Yeah, bring that into your thing.
I honestly love to watch cooking videos.
Yeah, me too. I love to cook. The
I like
reason I wanted
watching
masterclass was to watch the Thomas Keller one.
You ever heard of Binging with Babish?
Yes.
No.
You should look him up. He's great.
What is it?
It's a cooking channel, like on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
He recreates dishes from movies, TV shows, basically the most obscure places.
Yeah.
But sometimes he does like basic videos like how to make pasta or how to make other things. But he's really entertaining.
What's it called? Binging?
Binging with Babish. I'll type it into the chat.
Okay. I'm trying to, oh, here it is. I'm going to get one of those bears, Haley. I'm going to find one. What did you say it is? It's like a dental thing, right?
Yeah, I found the link once, but I could try to find it again if you can't find it.
I'm getting one. I thought it was like from a movie or something.
No, I was surprised it wasn't from like this obscure horror movie.
Yeah.
I think I've
And then
seen one of those bears in real life.
They use it for kids, and it's probably supposed to be like inviting to kids, but it's actually nightmare inducing.
If my mom gave me one of those, I'd be terrified and have nightmares of it eating me.
I don't know if I ever said this before. When I was a kid, I had a ventriloquist dummy, like one of the big ones.
Oh.
And just super nerdy. And then I forgot about it. You know, I just forgot about it over the years. And then my room is a mess. And then one night, I forgot about it. I never went to the end of my bed for whatever reason. And for some reason at night, I heard something and I creeped over the edge of the bed and that thing was sitting there looking up at me and I had to like put it in the garage because it freaked me out. And I think I ended up getting rid of it over it. Wish I still had it now. Oh, there
When
it is.
I was little, my sister and I had this gigantic angel bear plush thing. It was like 2 feet tall. And for me, being the smallest, it was gigantic. And my mom was a stickler about us keeping our room clean. And then one day I was looking for my shoes. I look under my bed, and there's this gigantic teddy bear under my bed. And I was freaking out.
That's sort of
My
the same
mom was
thing.
like, we've had that forever. And I'm like, I've never seen it. It's twice my size.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened with my Charlie McCarthy, whatever that's called, ventriloquist dummy. Such a dorky thing. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, Haley, it looks like you built up the light tones in the face, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. See how it's getting like that nice painterly look?
Yeah.
I like that. Now it's just a little bit, because you don't want to over refine it because you want to keep it sort of painterly. Yeah, I don't know. Like, okay, so like here might be a spot like right there. Oops. Right there where you might get a highlight because that's a shiny surface, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
The same thing maybe here. Because you don't want to overdo them. Where's the light coming from? I forget.
There's a little like.
Oh, I
dark
see.
sun.
Okay. That's what I thought. All right, hang on. So, maybe here. You already got one there. Maybe even a little right there. Just to emphasize the edge of that knuckle a little bit, right?
Right.
Not too much. We don't want to overdo it. I think you're pretty close, man. I still think we could maybe separate. See how these two areas right here?
Yeah, I was thinking of making the cape lighter.
Yeah, either or. Or you could say the light's up there and maybe just push this a little bit. Because I feel like the cape's sort of facing away from the light.
Yeah.
And that the pants are, I can make an excuse that the pants could catch a little more light. It doesn't really need to be that much. It just needs to be, or just in here maybe. Just like here close to it. You can get a little darker right in here. That'd probably do it actually, right?
Right.
Okay. So now it's just real selective. I think a little more in here. Definitely right here because that's facing right into that light, right?
Right.
Something happened to my setup here. I still haven't figured out what happened. Now, what's going to become really important here, you guys, is when you decide to like soften an edge or anything like that, and Haley's doing a good job of it here, how you decide to soften that edge, okay? Is it a nice soft edge, which, sometimes makes sense? A really extreme example, not really extreme, but a good example of this. Let me find this guy. think this is it. Yeah. Now, this is really painterly, but I just want to make my point here. Yeah. Well, this guy's a fine artist, but he does this really painterly stuff, right? Like this. And he's really pushing the painterly thing. But what I want you to understand about this kind of thing, I'm not saying you have to go this far with it, by the way, is the idea of those like beautiful edges and broken edges and all that kind of stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just take some of that away from it. I think it's really helpful. Another guy who does it in a more refined way, because I don't think it's good to constantly look at entertainment design. One of the things that I see a lot with students, or illustration, or whatever it is you're looking at, or graphic design or whatever, if you just stay in your own ecosystem, you never get any new ideas. And then you start doing what I see with almost all entertainment design programs, which is they're just sort of cannibalistic, where they all look the same. Like if I go to almost any entertainment design program in any college, everything looks the same. Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't want to be that, I don't think, okay? Because if you look at the people who are monster at it, like I was just looking at, I think it's John Navarro today. He's a monster draftsman, monster designer, you know, and yeah, stuff looks entertainment-y, but it's his own thing, okay? And it's really accomplished stuff. So do you guys understand what I'm saying about a painter like this?
Yes.
So, I mean, I think these things are really beautiful anyway, but another guy does a really beautiful job of it. There's a lot of them. See if we can find. And this guy's a little more, he doesn't push that as abstract as he does. And you can see how loose he starts right here, right? Or here. And that's how he's starting these things. They're nice and loose. He blocks them out real big. Same thing here. I mean, you can take it like this where it feels like if you got close up on this, it wouldn't be as tight as it looks, but you can get that look where it looks a little tighter, but it feels more natural that way, okay? And then you're also doing really nice things with the edges. People really respond to that, even in entertainment design or any of that kind of thing, okay? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, anyway, so we're looking at, and this is the same thing I do with paint. You know, do I want this broken edge kind of thing? And then I have one in here or even here. Like sometimes on an edge out here, and I'm not saying do it here because I don't think it would work, but even out here, I might break up an edge a little bit if I want to soften it just a little bit, okay? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
See how it gets like a nice edge right there? Even sometimes if it's not necessarily, I might just do it real subtly here and there. I have a smudger in here that I like. I think it's this one. I like the way this one breaks up edges. That's kind of nice. Or, you know, just blending colors or values between each other. You can see, I hope, how this is more interesting than what most people do, which is they just get something and they just sort of smooth everything out between each other. And everything is smooth and everything is the same. And if you guys understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
you calling me out
See
like
it
that?
constantly, huh?
Why you calling me out like that?
I knew you were going to say that. But do you understand why that's a basic? It's really a basic design thing. So when you're taught in basic design things about contrast, contrasting edges is also a thing. The problem, and it's not a problem, but what they do in basic design is, you know, they're telling you the big idea. So it tends to be shape, size relationships, contrast in values, maybe contrasting complementary colors, things like that. But they don't go into things like edges, and I understand why it's a basic design class. But now let's start. What I'm trying to do here when I do this project in this class is I'm trying to get you guys before you, because I'm actually hired as a foundational teacher, right? Which is totally my thing, is fundamentals, right? I'm trying to get you guys set up for when you go into basic painting or, you know, whatever it is, intro to visual painting or any of that stuff, that you have some of this in your head and everything, and you're kind of going, because I to be honest with you, in most entertainment design programs, it's just not taught, okay? And part of that is because a lot of people teach digital painting, they're not really painters, okay? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make sure that you're going into that thinking about that early on, because a lot of people go, "Oh, it's advanced concepts." Not really. I can start talking about this now because most of the people take this class, they totally get it, and I think it helps their painting down the line, which is my goal. Okay.
Okay.
So think about your edges. That's why I gave you all the smudge tools. But you could also do this with a mixer brush. I just don't tend to do it with mixer brush, but like if you didn't have smudge brushes, you could just do it that way. There's a bunch of cool stuff you can do with the mixer brush, by the way. Actually, I need to go through a few of those things next week. I need to make a list for myself and go through those. So we'll go. I haven't gone through that yet, right? No?
Mm,
I don't think I have, right?
I don't think so.
Okay. So I'll go through those next week. So like maybe here, like this might be, a lot of times these, like whatever you call them, bow ties or whatever, they will get a little bit, a little smoother because a lot of times they're sort of a satin. You got to be careful too because you don't want it to get blurry, right?
Right.
You want to have a nice, in this case you could, that's getting a little blurry for me. I don't like that. Let me try something else. A little better. So I'd probably break this up a couple of different ways. And then what I usually have to do is come back in here with my brush and sort of build back. I have to kind of do a back and forth little thing. You don't want to overdo it anywhere. All I'm trying to do is make the point that there's certain surfaces that are different than other surfaces, okay?
Okay.
So if I have a heavy jacket on, like this jacket, when we start getting into the painting part of it, I don't know if we talked about this, it might have been in my other class. We might take a nice,
Professor, you're lagging.
oh, am I?
You froze.
How am I now?
Okay, you're fine now,
There.
but for like a good 10 seconds, you just froze up.
What I
So
was
we
going to
can
say
fix Mike.
is we go through this, hang on. Maybe here. You know, as we go through this, like where we come into the light here, and I need a bigger brush, I need a bigger texture for this. Hang on, my Photoshop's doing something weird. Okay, okay. Okay. You know, as it comes into the light, we might, like right here, on, you know, anywhere where it's coming into the light, we might take like a nice texture, and the lighter values that comes in will be a little bit of a texture because that jacket looks like an old school kind of heavy tweedy jacket. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And I might even use this bigger texture, you know, and just erase some of it out. That's not the texture I'm looking for yet. But trust me, out of all those brushes I gave you, there's some in there. And then you need to find those, you know, whenever you're doing a project, put a folder, like I put a folder here for my favorite brushes. And I, you know, I'll change it up based on the project. So I might have one like this. This one I have, this is foliage here. So I might have, you know, if I was using that kind of thing, I might have that in a you know, foliage brushes. I might, and then I have my smudge brushes put away by themselves right here. I think I have 9 or 10 of them. You know, and that's about it. But I'm in a project, I'm probably not going to use more than 7 to 10 brushes max, probably 5. Okay, now that's up to you. Okay, does that make sense, all that?
Yeah.
Because I want you guys to, and you're on your way. You guys are getting it. I think here too, Haley, I think a couple of places we could still kind of go a little like we're doing up here. Like we might be able to emphasize that fold there a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just here and there. You don't want to overdo it. But what I like is you kind of put that big sort of belly shape, you know, thing there, which is a nice little kind of hint of anatomy under the pants, right?
Right.
Which is really good. So, you know, just you do your final tuning stuff, okay?
Okay.
Now, what we're going to do as we go through this, let me go through a few and then we'll see. Yeah, you organized your hair on the top, right?
Yeah, I did.
See how that looks better?
Hmm.
Yeah. And then I'd say the same thing, maybe just here and there. Just here and there. Might be able to get a little bit of a pop on some of this stuff, like another couple of steps up or 1 or 2 steps up. So be really careful with it. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to go too high.
Yeah, otherwise it'll look wet or shiny.
Yeah, it'll start to get shiny. You might here, this, you know, there might be again like a stitch thing there.
Hmm.
I'm just looking for things that I can put to sort of break up shapes and things like that. Is this going to be a little pattern right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I might kind of come in and you don't have to do it everywhere,
Hmm.
but it helps if you're using a thin, thick brush. Kind of get it thin and thick here and there.
Okay.
Like when they do a pattern like that, they'll do sort of where it maybe gets thick like right here, then it tapers off. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Maybe, I'm not sure. I like the way you darken the plane of the back of the hand. Oops. But I think it might be able to go a value up or so.
Sorry, what did you say?
I think this could go just a hair darker. The way you did this, I love this way you darked up the plane of this hand.
Okay.
So when it goes darker, it's a little more readable,
Yeah.
but it's really subtle. You don't want to do too much of it. I think this in here maybe, I'm not sure. Hang on. Probably get a little more value in between her fingers there. Again, not too much. I love this plane of the hand where it shifts, where it shifts planes. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
from being in the front to being in the back.
Yeah, because this is two planes, right? Here's one plane,
Mhm.
here's another plane. So if this is hitting
Yeah.
the light and that shifts, like that's great that you saw that. Okay?
Yeah, I thought it looked like a paper hand or something at first.
Yeah. That's how you break those planes really simply.
Mm.
And then, oh, this is great. The nose looks great. Yeah. You might want to now give her a little might want to give her now a little shadow value. She's standing there.
Okay.
Sometimes you can give it like a little hint of grass or something if you want. Okay, I'd say just go through, do one more little pass, and you're ready to go, right?
All right. Yeah. Do you think the chest area is too smooth looking, or is that
Do
fine
what?
for skin? The skin on the chest area, is it too smooth and
No, I think it's okay.
it's okay? Okay.
I'd probably smooth off maybe. Now, always remember too, let me see. Like, okay, so you're going to find these on your own, but you'll find little graphic landmarks, especially with human or any kind of anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I always think about is, you have that little divot right there,
Yeah.
your collarbone, right?
Uh-huh.
So if I go, that divot's like,
It
the
just
divot's,
looks so blank there, that's all.
that divot's right there, right?
Yeah.
So then that means that the center of the chest is like there. So I think this
Oh.
might need to get pushed over a little bit.
Okay, yeah. I thought something looked off about it, but I
Yeah.
wasn't sure.
And then the side of this, because what that's doing is it's going in that, okay, this is a perfect example of edges, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it's cleavage and, whatever. But it's a perfect example of like, this is actually going to go, okay, so that little center line makes sense, right?
Yeah, it does.
Because I always think about it this way.
It's like
And
when
after
we
you
did
do this
it with the buildings, the boxes with the X's.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing. But I always kind of think of it, you got that little collarbone thing, then the collarbone comes up like that, right? And then that means that the chest is like right there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So if I turn it, now I'm turning the axis on the face. So now that little divot, and you don't have to put the divot, however you want to think of it.
Mm-hmm.
And now that axis is there. So this is coming here, under, around, there's the center. And now that chest is doing that.
I love how he went from like little pirate girl to Superman.
You know why? 'Cause it's easier for me to exaggerate the anatomy to show what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So this is probably going to move. Oops. What layers are in here? Probably going to move closer over here maybe. But this is a good example. Let's flatten this a little bit. I think I'm just going to flatten this whole thing. As it dives into that cavity or whatever, right? That's going to get a little more hard edge. But as it comes out, that's a very smooth curve, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going to have a hard edge necessarily. It's probably going to go a little smoother. Oops. as it comes out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And then I'd probably have to go back in with my brush, you know, and get a little bit of that darker value in it. Oops. A little more of that darker value in it. You know, and just do a little back and forth.
Yeah.
It's reading a little better now, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Something just looked really off about the chest earlier.
Yeah, I love that you made the connection between the X's and the boxes, and that's exactly what I want you to do.
Okay.
Okay, because it's like these things are all not, they're all interconnected. They're, you know, what I always say in my Saturday class is, okay, we're drawing buildings, but it's not about buildings. We're drawing airplanes, but it's not about airplanes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just about those big ideas around those particular subject matters. Okay?
Okay. Got it.
Let's see. Now, one thing here, James, if you look at it, this value right here is sort of carrying through the whole thing. You see that?
Yeah.
You need to get 3 solid values in there. Okay?
Okay. So right now I
I
have
mean,
more.
you sort of have them. It's just you're taking up this huge expanse.
Oh, it's just that light value.
Yeah, of this really light value here.
Okay.
And by the way, what's today? Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday.
Yeah.
I want all this value stuff done by Monday or Tuesday. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, like
Okay.
here, it's another good example. This edge is probably going to be, that's a really long rolling edge. I don't like that one. Hang on. And again, this is like, it could be a wool blanket roll, but I'm going to flatten this too.
Yeah, just do it. It's a lot easier.
This might get like a little of a broken up edge a little bit, because this would probably, you know, nowadays it'd probably be, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Nowadays it would probably be all this modern REI crap, but like when I was a kid, a lot of stuff was wool. Back in the, I think, late 1800s when I was a Boy Scout. Okay. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did you add to this poll?
Yeah. Not to the. Oh, I moved the. No, wait.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
just moved that. Does it look off to you too much? The pole on the rod.
No.
Okay.
You know, it looks like you did what you're supposed to, which is just sort of run it right through it like that, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And then, like, look at this pant leg right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of a flat expanse,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
if we go and look at, let's see. Let's see if we can just find an easy one. Come on. All day long, my internet's been like super fast.
Whose cat is that?
Mine's on the way now.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Oh,
No,
sorry about that.
and knock things off again. It's all your fault. I blame you.
Like even this, you know. Let me see. Hang on. Even this. But I'm really looking for
Okay.
I don't know why they have all these Rangers in camo outfits. Come on. By the way, there's a whole PDF on park ranger outfits or park ranger uniforms. Look. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I love the National Park Service.
Mm-hmm.
We're rangers, all that stuff. I love all that stuff. If you come up here, you can go up to Keller Peak, which and it's this beautiful road that goes up, and there's a fire lookout up there, right?
That's cool.
Way in the hell up, right? And then if you go there, you can they'll let you go up in it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's awesome. It's like a tree house. I mean, with this insane view, and it's got like a little bed and a stove, and just stuff so you can stay in there. I want to volunteer for it. Actually, I just thought about that the other day. I want to volunteer for it this summer because then you get to
That's cool.
sleep there and stuff.
Yeah. What's it called?
Keller Peak. I just went up there. I was just up there like 2 days ago. So like this one's cool too. Like these a little bit flared ones might be cool. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd that go? Hang on. Don't let me forget to get a screen grab before we're done. So until you get used to it, and even when you do get used to it, the folds and all that stuff. But this is a utilitarian. What is this guy? He's a ranger, right?
Yeah.
So there's certain like utilitarian things you can take liberties with. Yeah. So we could probably go just to break up this pant leg. Maybe put some kind of
Okay. Yeah.
some pockets on here. Damn it. On here. That'll also break up this edge a little bit. See how much that helps?
Yeah.
You could put, and then maybe have a fold coming here, and then let's look at his pants. A little bit of a fold here. Maybe it gathers a little bit down here by his where it comes down here. There's a little bit of a gather, like there. Probably a pull fold from there. Because that's a center point. The crotch is a center point, and things will pull out from it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing here. And then I can put that a little bit where maybe this kind of breaks that border again a little bit. That helps a little. I might make these a little bigger, but that's all right. And then like even in here, start deciding like, is this like in here, that's a patch or something, right?
Yeah.
So that's a value that I can decide. So if I decide that I need a lighter value in there,
Okay. Yeah.
I can say that was white. It's not going to be pure white because it just wouldn't be.
Mm-hmm. Just make it pop out more.
Yeah, and I can make that little tree pop out. You're going to eventually paint over this line work as we're working out into it. And you start to get a nice little, I like this little indication of his Adam's apple. I think maybe, where's the light at again?
Coming from the left side.
Oh, left up? Okay. Like here, you could go, this nose could be cast in a shadow.
Okay.
a little dark or a little ham-fisted, you know. A little more like that. Same thing here. Like I'm eventually going to want to get rid of your line work. God damn it, what's going on here? Hang on. So this, you know, it could be a little more of a shadow value there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually you'll lose that line, and it'll just be a shadow value. Here, you might be able to go, maybe that front of his hat's catching a little bit of light. See how it pulls it forward?
Yeah. Separates it more.
Same deal here. We might go, we go to a little lighter value here. This over here is definitely going to get some more value on it. And what you might be able to get away with maybe just a hint, like a little core shadow somewhere. That's a little hard, but does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you can have the same deal here where if I have that light hitting that, oops, this, I can say it's hitting here too. And I'd probably darken that back up, that kind of thing. Okay, you see how we're going in and building the values and thinking about our edges and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. But you keep pushing it, which is what I want. I think his shoes could get darker too. Right? Seems like those kind of boots are usually darker. Like look at his boots right there. Yeah?
Say it again? You cut out a little?
I think his boots could be a little darker. That'll sort of anchor him down to the ground. Get a little more, like this guy, you could do a sort of graphic shadow idea. You know, give him a little more. You know, and then maybe some little indication of grass, like he's standing outside. And just vignette it. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Also, like this, that's probably like an aluminum frame, right?
It's like reflected or something.
Yeah, so it would probably have a, it feels like it's a little bit squarish. They're usually round, well, at least they did when I was a kid. Who knows what they're like now, I don't know. But when I was a kid, they were usually round.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I might be able to get away with a little bit of a, if it was round, core shadow, then come back in and get that little bit of a highlight on there.
I just realized a big mistake.
What?
It's floating.
What's floating?
The backpack.
Oh yeah, it is floating. I didn't catch it either.
Yeah.
He needs straps, yeah.
Yeah.
That'll actually be good because it'll go across his chest. That'll be good.
I think that strap across his chest was supposed to be like the original one, but maybe you can thicken it up and stuff.
Nah, it needs to be two of them.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is just my input, but like for like the aluminum things, because of the way like it was made, like it had to be bent. There would probably be like a little bit of like cinched things where like the corners are.
No, what they would do, the one, because I used to have one of these. Like I had a huge one like this that had an aluminum frame on it, and it was sort of like it'd have the pole piece, but then the other one would be sort of inserted in here. And in here, and then yeah, this was a soft. It was a soft roll though, like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I don't know how they bend them.
So wherever the strap like recedes into like where his like kind of where his arm would be, would it like tighten it there as well? Kind of where it does like where the belt is.
Like the blanket roll?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Would
it should
do
get a
that?
little bit of a compression thing. But whenever you're questioning that, take a look. Just
Okay.
pull up some pictures of hikers. Because, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of weight on that. You know, now it
Okay,
might
yeah.
push against it. I can't imagine it doesn't make a little bit, but you don't want to overdo that either, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But just double check it. Whenever you're wondering about, this is a weird thing. Like, this is why Frank beat you guys up so bad about doing reference sheets. If anybody's had Frank's class. And he's right. Because they go, and I have students do this too. And you go, okay, we're designing a vehicle or something, you know? And then you see the drawings and you go, did you look at anything? No. It's like, you just make this up. Like, you just make up a vehicle with no experience, no understanding of how it works. And then when you see it, it looks so childish and amateurish. It's like, I don't even understand how you could do this. You know what I mean? So whenever you're questioning something, go take a look at it. It's a balance. You got to learn how to you got to kind of learn how to draw out of your head and stuff like that. That's a whole different thing. But like if I'm looking at something, I go, and I don't know about whatever, or if I'm doing a project or something, I'm going to go do my research. You know what I mean? I'm not just going to throw stuff out there half-assed. I'm just not going to do that. Okay. They tell me you want a biplane. I'm going to go look at biplanes. I'm going to draw biplanes like crazy. I'm going to go over to March Field, draw them from life, from every angle I can find. Then I'm going to go back and start making it up, because then I can make it up. And the reason I do that is because I don't want to start being a slave to photography, because then your drawings and everything get all stiff, right? So what I'm trying to do is absorb all this information, gulp it all in, and then I can spew out all these ideas, because now I understand the shape language, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can do it with people, you can do it with animals, you can do it with props, you can do it with anything. But I don't like to sit there and just look at photo reference. I like to get familiar with the subject matter. And then later on, I'll look, I start drawing things, and then I'll look at it and go, isn't there a guy line on there? Oh, yeah, there is. And I'll add that in or something like that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a back and forth. Okay, you know what you're doing, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Better.
Oh, snap. Here we go.
Okay, see, this is working way better, like this kind of thing. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Be careful, because this shoe here is a little different from this one.
Okay.
Like this one looks like this shoe. I know it looks darker here, but maybe, this side would be catching light too, right?
I figured it wouldn't be catching much light because I was thinking that the pants leg would be like covering it.
Okay, here's where you got to make a design decision, because I can justify that catching light easily.
Like
And
bounce
it's making it feel more like it's related to the other one.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's okay. So like design decisions, there's certain things, because I've had people do that, especially in the academic area, where they go, well, and I go, dude, does mine look better than yours? Yes. I made a design decision on it, and I kind of justify it. I'm not going to go completely off reality or whatever, but I can play with, or I can go, all right, I want to light that up. I'm going to put a bounce light over here, and I'll just figure out some way from a design perspective to do it, right?
Yeah.
Getting better in here. This little thing here.
What
There's a
thing?
name for that, and I always forget it. Do you know what the name is?
For what specifically?
This
The
little little triangle you get. There's a
I
name
think
for it. Huh? Say it again.
the cheekbone light? I don't know.
It's like it's a little triangle thing. There's a name for that type of lighting.
I have no idea.
Okay, hang on. God, I can't remember.
I originally had it as a triangle, but I didn't know if I had it in the right spot, so I just kind of like blended it.
It usually has a harder edge.
Like
Okay.
the Rembrandt light thing?
Maybe, I think there's another name for it. Hang on, I'm finding it.
Yeah, because when I was figuring out where to put that one light or that one highlight, I was looking at a sorrow head.
Trying to find it right now. Damn it. You know what? I'll find it and I'll post it. Because I know there's a really good article on it on Bernie Journey. I'll find it. I always forget the name of it. It's going to drive me crazy. Anyway, I'll find it and I'll post it. I think we're getting a little bit of the same thing where there's like a sort of, like I think in here, there might be a chance to get a little bit of more value in like here. It's coming out from under that little head thing.
Okay.
That might give me an excuse. And then like I like to build a little bit of value in between these kind of things.
Yeah.
You know, because all those things are sort of objects or cast shadows, and I can take advantage of that, right?
Yeah.
Get a little cleaner. I also maybe might go, I don't think all this would be that light. And if I can make an excuse to get it a little lighter, and I block it out, you know, and parts of it can get lighter, that's fine. But I don't know, can like her hair come down off this and maybe roll over her shoulder a little bit so it's not so hard edged?
Can you show me kind of like how to do that? Because I was thinking originally of her having like a pretty big braid coming over the right shoulder there, but like
A braid?
I couldn't
Okay.
I didn't know how to make it look like the hair was like not just a blobby mess, you know?
Now, in theory, I mean, her hair could go over this way. If it is, it's going to come from the other side and go over, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can just think of how it's going to, I would just look at some photo reference of how that works. But you can see if it kind of goes up over her shoulder, maybe here, it just breaks up that shape a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you can go, you know, then you can kind of go, this is a plane change right there. So I can like lighten that up. See what I mean?
Yeah.
And I could probably do a little bit of it out here. Then I could get a few small, maybe like you did here, a little stray hair here and there. But like that right there where that mass of hair goes over here, as it rolls over, that apex of it right there is going to get a highlight. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But I think it breaks it up a little nicer. And I think there's something about it that counterbalances her hip being kicked out. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah.
I kind of like that. Maybe here,
Where are we looking?
right here, I'm thinking this might be another spot. Maybe there, I'm not sure. It might be a little heavy. Here, I might go. I'm going to flatten this one too. I'll break that up a little. Probably here too. And here, I think I just let that sort of, that's another place where I'm looking at it might be a soft edge, unless it's like the fold is sort of doing a little harder edge fold or something, right?
Yeah. You
Over
can-
here is another place where I think you might have a chance to get some more value, right? Here. The trick with this is you kind of like, it's nice to start with just a real simple value thing, like we were talking about with like a 3 value thing.
Yeah.
And then you can start adding some other ones into it. What happens is people with value, or well, I taught a plein air class one time, and like instead of people doing this, instead of people doing, you know, painting in this mountainside and then doing a big wash of that mountainside or that hill or whatever. Same thing here, putting the wash of the foreground, the ground, and then going, okay, there's some trees here, there's some lighter values here, and start to build that mountainside into that big shape. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so what they would do is they would go, oh, okay, here's the mountainside. Now they go, okay, there's a yellow patch right there, and there's a tree right here, and there's some yellow stuff here, and the whole thing's disconnected. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if we lock it together with those 3 values, we're doing the same thing. We've got a good solid system there. Now we can build into it. But if you start going piecemeal all over the place, everything disconnects. We want everything locked together, and we can lock it together with our value.
Okay.
And I'm looking, she's pretty round. So I'm just looking for places where I could kind of give a little bit of form to it. I think this whole side. I don't think I put a highlight right there. I might have this come down a little lower. Here, like here, I think I might make I don't know how to work, make these a little rounder. See out there a little rounder, it's a little better.
Yeah.
And then, you know, then you can do your little highlights. Make sure this is worked out, this nose.
Boy's going in.
Like, I don't even know if you need nostrils on that nose. You might just need a little shadow value under the nose, right?
Yeah.
And I'd make a really, she looks like she's pretty young. I'd make this a pretty soft, young kind of nose. And then again here, probably soften that a little. Is she nice? Is she mean? What is she?
She's kind of like one of those like bullies, you know? Like she kind of feels like that she's at the top of the food chain.
Those eyes, it looks like from the TV shows. From Amphibia.
Never heard of it.
Well, one of the Disney shows.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I've never even heard of it, actually.
Oh, it actually came out like about last
Eight
year or so. It actually gained quite a bit of popularity because one of the show's creators was from the Gravity Falls team.
Yeah, I don't keep up that much with, and I do a little, but not. That's that Ratty Edge says. I'm just looking at the value of it. I don't know too much about what's going on with Disney right now, other than the big, giant releases. I don't know at all what they have on Disney TV anymore, which actually I should take a look at, because I should know that.
All I will say is that the content is significantly better because the people at the higher ups of Disney are paying a little bit less attention to them.
I don't know if that's true, but maybe. I think that they've been, from what I can tell, it seems like Iger isn't trying to be Walt Disney, and Iger's always been working behind the scenes. And Iger seems like he runs the company well. So maybe he's one of the few guys that's figured out to leave creative alone and let creative do their job. Because that's more or less what happened, why you got this golden age of television going on right now.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a lot of however it happened, there's certain guys like the guy did Mad Men, the guy did Breaking Bad, who basically somehow got it seems like they got a contract where they're like, you guys can't, I don't want notes. You're not telling me how I do this. I do it. And Matt Weiner actually, when he renegotiated his contract, when that got popular, Mad Men got popular, I think that was one of his things where he's like, you're not telling me anything. And he goes, and you're giving me this. And if you don't give it to me, I'm walking away from this. I don't care. So he put himself in a power position, and it was AMC's first show. So AMC, I guess, was just like, all right, screw it. Because he was like, I don't care if this is super popular. I'll shut it down. If you screw me over creatively, I won't have it. You know what I mean? Which, good for him. That's why that show will probably run forever. Where's my... oh, okay.
Wait, which show? The Walking Dead?
No, Matt Weiner did. Matt Weiner, I think, did Mad Men.
I thought Mad Men ended.
It did. This is early. This is way back. But really, Mad Men is really Mad Men and Breaking Bad are the two shows that kind of kicked off this golden age of television right now.
Yeah,
right? I think for me personally, Mad Men's the best TV show ever made.
You see Breaking Bad?
Yeah, I love Breaking Bad. That's another one. Who said that?
James.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty good.
We're watching Better Call Saul right now.
I hear that one's really good as well.
Yeah, it's great. It's the writing in those things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The writing is so crazy good. And then also the casting. Like Mad Men, the people they cast in that, I go, how do they cast these people? Because these people walk into your office and they just look like some young actor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you're like, oh yeah, that's Harry Crane, that's him. And I would probably look at him and go, yeah, I don't get it. Then they put him together the way they put him together, and he develops the personality of this thing, and you go, holy, it's just like, that's such a skill set, casting,
Mm-hmm.
To have somebody walk into your office who just looks normal and be able to see how they fit into that storyline, and especially that because it was a early mid-60s storyline, right? Into the 70s. And then when they start entering the different eras, like they did it so perfectly. Because, I remember a little bit the late 60s, but I totally remember the 70s. And I remember when all the guys looked like that, you know what I mean? And they nailed it. All right, let me see what else I got.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan, how come I have two versions? Are they just the same? One's a JPEG? Is he here?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's the same
Wait,
one.
there he is.
Sorry.
There he is.
Sorry,
He's
same
here.
one.
there it is.
Okay, they're the same.
I was
one.
muted. Sorry.
That's all right. All right, yeah, you beefed it up. Also, I think maybe this shape, it's hugging the back of his leg a little bit. I think this would actually come out more like that.
Oh, okay.
Maybe even a little more. Okay, yeah, you bumped up that hand a little bit. Yeah. Did you do something here?
No, I just left it alone. I just had a shadow after.
I like that. All right, you can be ready for color quick. I'd probably, again, I might just go one more just value up here just a little. And the light's coming from up here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then here, okay. I'd shape this out a little more. Oh, unless you're saying it's like a rough thing, which is fine. Also be careful. Okay, so look here. You see how you have that heavy darkness on the edge?
Yeah.
I would probably, like I'd probably shape this out a little bit. See that?
Yeah, that makes
sense?
it look better.
And then you don't want just that dark edge like that. This is going to catch a little more light, like more like that. And then I could probably just get, again, a little coarse. This is a shiny object. It's a little, that's too much. Hang on. Probably a little bit right there. See how it turns it a little bit?
Yeah.
And then you're going to do the same thing over here. Yeah, that helped it a lot. Okay?
Yeah, I see it.
Oh, and then I would probably do one more pass here, maybe just a little bit of value. Like in there. Just to pop it a little more. And maybe even here. I might be able to get a little bit of value coming in right there.
Okay.
And that just helps pop it a little bit.
I see it.
Okay. I still would move this blade out this way a little bit.
But wouldn't that kind of mess with the equilibrium of the weight
All right.
as a design thing? I don't know. I also thought about moving it because you told me to move it to the
Just
side.
make sure that these two things are separating and it's not becoming this one big confusing shape.
Okay.
Okay, how you solve that, I don't really care. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. Give me 2 seconds here, you guys. Just got to grab my water thing. All right. Now be careful, be real finessey when you do this lighter line thing, right?
Okay.
You want to be real finessey with that.
Define finessey.
Deliberate. Yeah?
Could you show me what you mean by that?
I did the last time.
Oh, you did.
So just kind of look at that. Like if I put a line down, man, I'm thinking about it. If I put a shape down, I'm thinking about it. And then I'm going to look at it, flip it, or whatever, and I'm going to go, oh, I got to kind of, just like we just did with those horns, right? Where we just kind of carved that edge up a little bit. Like I always think about that, my shapes and my you know, if I'm going to do this kind of thing, you know, I want to have that nice value down. And then when I put this line in, oops. It's going to be super, you know, and then if it's going over a fold or something, then it's going to come back out on this side. You know, I'm going to be really deliberate and clean with it, right?
Right. So
If it varies in
what-
weight, it's because I want it to vary in weight.
okay.
And like here, again, we're doing this thing, everybody does this, where this is going to this really hard edge just on the edge. You know what I mean? So it really becomes a stripe more than a
Oh wow, computer face.
whatever you call that. You know, this is going to have a softer edge. And
Okay.
it's going to carry over a little more. See what I mean?
Yeah. I actually have a question about like the part under that armpit,
Mhm.
because where the light is hitting him, I know that there's supposed to be like a shadow like on that part of the jacket, but I don't know how to like do the shadow without like making it too obscure.
I think I would just kind of darken this a little bit right there. And leave it
Okay.
at that. You know, this, well, the light's over there. You still probably get a little bit of value under here. Again, this, you got that hard edge right against this, and then your smoke isn't designed, right?
Okay.
Always design. You know, is this kind of a smoky kind of thing? Is it going to be a value thing? You know, when we start to paint it, but you could set that all up right now. It's sort of a smoky, if you want to do it that way.
You're cutting out.
I'll go back on. Hang on.
You were cut out for a sec.
So I could build that up into a smoky thing. I could make it a linear thing. It's up to you. Right? You guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oops. Where is that? Oh, there.
Maybe try closing some of the tabs you have open.
Everybody can hear me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's you. Yeah?
Yeah.
How about now? Can you hear me good?
Yeah.
Okay. So I could carve this into like a smoky idea if I wanted. Because when you color it, it'll actually look cool. But that's up to you. I don't care. You don't want to do it in a smoky way. If you want to do it a linear thing, but anytime you do smoke or anything like that, you know, shape it out and make it look cool, right? The under parts of this are going to get a little darker. You know, and I just keep going and I'd shape it all out. Because there's actually a lot of temperature, warmth, and things like that in smoke. And like if he has a lit cherry on that, like if I turn that into a cigar and then I get a big lit cherry, that means all the bottom part of this smoke can get a little bit of warmth in it, like a little bit of that orangey glow, right?
Okay.
So I always think about that stuff because you know, it just really makes it look cool. And I look for all the places where I can do temperature shifts because I like
Really?
temperature shifts.
Is there a way of designing the smoke so that it can still have like the the distinct shape I was going for with that, because like I
Well,
feel
there
like
wasn't
having
wait. There wasn't a distinct shape there. It was a scribble, right?
it wasn't supposed to be a scribble.
I know, but it wasn't designed. Does that make sense?
I guess.
Okay, what doesn't make sense? Because I want to know. Let me reopen this. Okay, here. No, it's still there. Shit. Oh well. It was sort of this. You know, that's not design. Does that make sense?
Right.
Like a calligraphic line, oops, like something like,
What I'm really asking though is there a way for me to design the smoke so that it has like that more geometric look?
sure.
Because that's kind of what I'm going for. Because I feel like making it like cloudy and vague kind of like clashes with the way I drew the character.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Just figure it out.
Okay.
But you can't sort of go and go, I'm going for something. It's like, I don't know what you're going for. There's no design idea there, right? Can't be a scribble, man. I get this all the time. I just had it last night in the illustration, you know, where she was doing these like border elements that were like, I'm like, that's not an idea. You know what I mean? Like, you want that, you know, design it some cool calligraphic way or however you want to do that. I mean, there's so many ways you could do that. But if you want to keep it to a linear thing, that's totally fine. It's actually not going to work. Well, you could make it work one way or the other. I mean, we're going to go for a painterly thing, not a linear thing. So just keep that in mind, right?
Okay.
So if you could do it like smoke, like real smoke if you want, but you know, totally design that. You know what I mean?
I think I have a better idea in my head. Thank you.
Okay, good. So just what I'm saying is when you do something, it needs to be clear to the viewer that, you know, I mean, it's not like ideally people aren't going to really think about the smoke, but they're also not going to go, what's with that? You know what I mean? Like, or some geek like me is going to look at it and go, oh, look at the way he did the smoke. That's cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's really cool when I look at something like smoke or something that, you know, maybe people don't think that much about, or rocks or something like that. And you go, man, look at the way you design those. Those are so cool, you know? Okay, so what we're going to start doing here with these, let me get rid of my stupid drawings over here. Yeah, okay, I don't want to start. I think I want to make sure that everybody's done. Wait a minute. I'm missing.
You're missing me.
Oh. Did I already take a screen grab? I think I did.
You took a screen grab in the beginning of class.
Oh, I did? Okay. Who was that, Haley?
Yeah.
Yeah, Haley's on top of stuff. Okay, who did I miss?
Me, Fernando.
Me.
With the
Me.
You missed me too.
Wait, how did I miss so many people?
Also, Mike, I have a question.
Sure.
I got here like 2 minutes late, and I don't know if you count me towards the attendance.
I'll go. I don't have one from you. I have these. So I'm guessing that they were put in the folder late is what I'm guessing, right?
Which one, mine?
Yeah.
No, I added a second one. But the first one
Wait,
wasn't.
who am I talking to?
Fernando, all the way to the top.
Oh, okay. I didn't even see that. Oh no, we already talked about this one.
Oh,
Oh no.
I turned in my folder a little late and stuff at like 1:30 or so.
Why?
Because I was a little late and stuff and getting here and stuff. I managed to log in at like 1.
I don't think it's hard to put your stuff in a half hour before class, right?
Right.
So I've been telling everybody this, and it's like, I'm not trying to be a hard ass, but it's like, now I have to go there, go to the folder, download the folder, put it in my folder, and open it up, right? And it's like, it's rude to the other rest of the class, okay?
Okay,
So get them in there on time.
gotcha.
I don't know I think some of this stuff I would mass together. So are you telling me you have one in there now? Anastasia?
Yes, I have
All right,
one in.
I'll do it this time, but don't just start doing that, all right?
Okay.
I think I'd mass some of this together, Fernando.
Okay.
Like, so it's not just a bunch of lines. I mean, sometimes that's cool too, I get it. But same thing here. There's probably going to be a little bit of a core right here. Give me a darker value.
I was looking at Jonathan's. Like, how did he do the texture for his body for
Ask
the
him.
upper part? Okay.
Jonathan.
Are you there?
I think
What
it
was
is.
the question?
How did you do the texture for your upper body part?
The fur.
The fur, yeah.
What's that noise?
Popcorn.
Who is it?
I don't know. It sounds like popcorn though.
Or is it like a screen?
Translation, James wants popcorn.
Oh, it could be like someone's computer dying and stuff. My computer did something
It could
similar
be
just a moment
Jonathan
ago.
because he didn't answer, so it might be him.
Oh my gosh.
His microphone.
His computer's dead.
Who's this?
Jonathan Del Rosario and stuff.
Computer's dead?
Yeah, he had, like, his battery was at his.
Oh, I think I saw that in the chat, right?
Yeah.
Oh
so I
yeah,
think-
he answered me on the chat.
Oh, okay, good. What was the answer? I forgot now.
Fur. Oh, I asked which brush did he use for the upper body, and he said fur brush.
Did he make it?
He says he's now on his iPhone to like talk to this meeting.
Let me.
Fernando.
Yes.
So we've got this whole thing is basically one value.
Okay.
So, and then this is just popping out like this. This is going to have form. If this is, it's going to have form. So, like if these things are a little rounded, this is going to get a little bit of light on this side.
I added some extra things to the shield to make it more interesting. How you told me.
Yeah. So now you got to light it, right?
Yeah.
So when we come in, come in here and give them a little bit of, like they've got some volume to them. Then if you put enough value on it, you could probably come in here later. You got to build up to it though, not that much, and have a little bit of a highlight on here. Stuff like that, right?
Okay.
By Monday, get this thing broken up. It's all one value. Like is your light here?
Mm-hmm.
Like
it's on the corner. Yeah. There you go.
No. Oh. Yeah, here. So make sure that you're lighting it. Like that means that this in here is going to get darker inside the mouth.
Well, I think it's actually going to have light inside.
Oh, okay. Well, then
Yeah,
you're going to want
make
if
it
you're
more
going to do
interesting.
that. You want to do this like that kind of thing. Well, you might be able. You could probably do it just like this. That's fine. But you might want to go instead of doing it because when you're going to paint it, having something lit. Is that the only place where there'd be light?
There and the top corner.
Okay.
Like if it was inside of a cave or something.
Oh, so he is in a dark environment.
Yeah, but there's going to be
Okay,
light.
so what I would do
coming from the
then
corner,
is I would put a value behind this.
too. Okay.
Hang on. That way you're working apples to apples. I would pull this behind this, put this on a value or on a multiply layer. Because, you should have this in layers anyway. and then
Yeah.
come here and pick a mid-value gray. You know, depending on kind of what kind of lighting you like, and then work out the values with that gray behind it, because that's really the environment you're going to be in,
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
right? Because then when I go, okay, this is going to be lit. You know, I can build up these values nice and slow and go, okay, this is lit up. And then it's going to have a point source in there.
You think I should go lighter on the right part of his shoulder?
Over here,
Yeah.
well, the light source is over there, yeah. I mean, if you got a light source here, then that means this is going to get, things on this side are going to get lit. But what you got to
Okay.
stop doing is going, and it's common, all right? It's going to go lit, and then it's going to sort of fall off, and then it's going to go to the dark, right? What everybody
Mhm.
has a tendency to do is they go, okay, here's my light source. This is what people have a tendency to do. They go, here's my light source. So I'm going to light this edge and light this edge and light this edge, right? Hang on.
Mhm.
And then they go screaming white like this. And they tend to do it on the edge for some reason. Right here, like right here, right here, right here, here, here. And that's not what's going to happen. That's the end, not now. You gotta kind of go, the light hitting it. Whenever you're doing a light, like you're doing a light.
Like mask the light?
Wait, hang on. Yeah, that's one way of saying it. But where's this at? Oh, it's on here. Hang on. Oops. You sort of have, like when I'm working on tone paper, I use a Prisma and a paint marker so I can get specularity and just my regular highlight, okay?
Mhm.
So if I have a surface that's going to be lit, hang on. It's going to have its first pass of light. And that's the light hitting it, right?
Mhm.
It's really slow when you go big for some reason. Let's get this smoothed out a little bit. So maybe that's the overall form getting hit, okay?
Yeah.
You know. And then maybe it's going to go. So then over here, if this, let's say this is sort of a curved form, right?
Mhm.
And let's say the light source is here, okay?
Mhm.
That means over here, you're going to get a little bit of a shadow value as it turns, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to get a little bit, this is where it's going to start to highlight here. That's where the light's going to start to hit it. And then if I get any specularity, oops, I'm just going to get a little of that specularity, and that's it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's going to get, actually I reversed it somehow. That's stupid. This light over here should be on this side. But it'll go, it'll hit the surface. Then where it gets a little bit of a highlight, then it jumps to specularity if there is any specularity. Okay?
Okay.
But if I'm like wearing a wool jacket, probably not going to have any specularity.
Okay.
Right? But if I'm wearing a jacket, if I'm wearing a Barry Manilow jacket and it's got a bunch of sparkles all over it, lots of specularity, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If,
So it always has,
let's say I want to add like type of hair to the upper part of the body where his shoulders are.
add what?
Can I make my? I want to add like hair, like if he was wearing a type of
Like fur?
bear. It's like a fur, yeah, of a
Okay.
bear on the top of his shoulders. Can I make a brush with
Yeah.
the texture, or
You could
Okay.
probably go. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Hang on.
I think it's on the last one and it's hitting.
I want to.
Hidden.
Okay. Oh, here it is. Oh no. Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
So let's go. Well, I'll just do it on a different sheet. You know, if you want to play with this, let's just try that. Define brush. Ooh, not preset. Oh, no, it is. Okay. And then, oh, I got to select it. Sorry. Okay, then you're going to come back over here like we talked about before. But I'll just do it real quick. Space dynamics or shape dynamics. Right here, under shape dynamics, you're going to want to put it on direction. Now I want to start to pull that apart. I'm going to go, that's all right. I'm going to scatter it out a little bit. Depending on how thick you want it. I like transfer, you know, and I can come in here and play around with things, right?
Yeah.
You know, and then I can set up the brush, you know, where it'll follow my hand, right?
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So if we're on both sides of the shoulders, it'd be something like that. Now you might have to come in here. I put up all the stuff about this after we had that discussion, correct? Paul is saying doing it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Okay.
did.
So sometimes you have to go in and change the axis on. I'm not having to on this one. It's working pretty good. But you can see how, oh, this one has to go the other way. So like on this side, I might have to go. I probably have to go in here under my brush settings now. Oh, I'm not on my brush. And probably change the XY axis or whatever it is. Or even maybe change it, change it from here. I could probably change it from here. And it's weird, it doesn't read, so that's going the other way. I just have to find it. Oops. Yeah, there it is. But I just changed the direction of the brush, and now I could get the other shoulder. Right?
Yeah.
And just build a nice little, you know, and then and just remember where it is. That's straight up. Let's see if straight down's the other way. Not quite. So, oops. So I just have to put this back where it was. So you should just look at it when you start it. That's a little better.
Okay.
You know, and I can just make a fur brush like that. Okay?
Thank you.
What I want to do, and Anastasia, hang on.
So Mike, do you want me to remind you at the end of the class about the attendance, or do
Let
you
me do
got
it
me
right
already?
now.
Thank you.
Wait, let me get rid of my old one because I have so many of these things on here. It's starting to drive me nuts. This should be today. Today's the 30th, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Let me go grab Anastasia's stuff real quick. Come on. All one value, Anastasia. Yeah?
Yes, but I went for like a layer mask and stuff, and I tried to go for like dark and gray and all that.
If you squint down, it's like basically kind of two values, and they're fairly close together, okay?
Okay.
You might want to come in here. It's easier, I think. And that's why I like to keep, oops, I still got the other brush. And by the way, you guys, get used to making your own brushes. It's really helpful, okay? Because everybody's going out and buying them and stuff. And I think that's fine too. I do too. But it's like when I need something specific, you know, if I need a bunch of leaves that are in the style of my illustration, I do that scatter, you know, I do that. I scatter it the right way, and I can, you know, I can populate a whole scene very quickly, okay? And I got to show you one more thing about that, because I haven't showed you guys how to do foliage with a mixer brush yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, right?
You did not yet.
All right, so I'll do that next week. You know, you got to think of this whole thing as a silhouette. Be careful with this hair again. It's starting to get close to that anime stuff, right? When I see
Right.
spiky hair, I know you watch anime.
I was trying to go for like a wild, kind of untussled look in the hair and stuff.
That's okay. Don't go to the anime language. Go just look at hair like that, and then go, okay, how does it mask together, right? Like
Right.
if you look at Grace's, hers kind of has a kind of big flowy thing, you know, but it doesn't feel like that. So think of this thing as one big value, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's our figure. You know, and then just go to your second, put it on a different layer. Go, okay, how far up am I going to go? And just start lighting it very simply. That's why I have you guys start this. I do it for a couple reasons. Why I have you guys start this with 3 values with line, okay? And it's why, if you noticed, I didn't tell you we're going to paint this, right? Because what I'm trying to do is, because most of you who come into this class haven't painted usually, so I'm tricking you into not knowing that you're actually building the painting, right? But when I turn off that line, if that value system now, because the line will hold it together, right? Like I did a demo over at Disney. I don't know if I ever told you this, where I did a line drawing, like an ink line drawing of a Paris street, right? And I was making this point, and I go, watch. I go, I'm going to really not do jack crap to this thing. I'm going to start throwing watercolor over it, because the line drawing is going to hold it all together. So I just started slapping paint all over this thing, and it looked fine, because the line's there. It's holding it together, right? Now, when you shut that line off, all of a sudden you go, oh, that's not working, you know? it's a good way to see value also. It's like teaching you a lot of different things, like starting to see a painting, starting to work into the idea of a painting, but also when you turn that line layer up, because the line will just hold it together. Like I see it all the time where people do it. I see it all the time in character design. They do a kind of a line drawing, then they do like a gradient over it, which I think looks terrible, but it, you know, the line drawing holds it together, okay? And you got all these gradients all over everything. I don't think that works personally. What I want you to do is understand a good, strong value system, and then we can start refining and painting into it, right? And refining those shapes. Because all painting is you throw down a big shape, then you put a smaller shape, and then a smaller shape, and then you kind of refine your shapes, get it all where it looks all nice, and then, you know, that's it, right? And we're going to do a glazing technique, okay? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, so just all the time squint down, look at it, and go, is it all starting to become one value? This is a super common problem, okay? I still do it, you know, I'll go out and do plein air painting or whatever, just painting or whatever. And I look at it and go, this whole thing's the same value. It pisses me off that I do it sometimes, because it's like, I've been doing this a long time. I shouldn't be doing that, but I still do. You know, we all, I think, struggle with value a little bit. That's why we have to really spend time on this. And it's important, okay? Whether it's your line quality showing the value or it's just tone. And I think it's important that you guys start seeing just tone. I think there's too many people who rely on line, and I love line, who rely on line and don't understand value. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. So just go in and get, do you still have this layered?
Yes.
Okay, just go in and adjust your values. Or get on, do that, but when you upload it on Monday or Tuesday, no, what are we, Tuesday? Upload the PSD so I can, and then when you got to turn off that line layer and see how that's working, right?
Okay.
But upload the PSD next time, and then if we need to adjust it, we can adjust it.
Gotcha.
Did somebody say something?
Yeah, like to get like to solve that problem that you're talking about with like when you're doing a painting and then it's all the same value. Is it just doing like value studies, like a lot of them, to get better, or, and then start introducing colors?
One thing you can do, okay, so we're sort of doing this here where we're starting off with black and white, and then we're going to go to a glazing technique, okay? By the way, there's a reason why the old masters did that same reason. I'm working on this. I'm thinking about value. I'm thinking about my edges and my brush work. Then I'll think about color. Because now I got this rock solid value thing with all this beautiful brushwork underneath it. I got it all locked down. Throwing the color on that becomes a hell of a lot easier, right?
Yeah.
One thing you can do, I mean, we're doing some of it here, but if you want to do it in a real world scenario, get any kind of paint. Could be watercolor. Watercolor, you just need black, right? Or in acrylic, just get black and white. Oil, get black and white, and just do value studies. You know? And I mean, like, and by the way, you guys, if you want to do that, like with acrylic or oil or whatever you have, you can just get, you can literally get pieces of cardboard, cut them, and cut them small, like about, you know, not big. Because you don't want to get all caught up on a big study, right? You want to keep it small. And and then gesso the cardboard. Just get some white gesso and gesso it. And then you can paint on that cardboard and it'll be fine. I mean, because all these are just studies. You don't want to worry about it. It's also good for your brain because you're like, who cares? It's a piece of cardboard. So you'll kind of go for it. You know? Right? And you can do that with oil or acrylic, right? And I think gouache will go on. Yeah, I don't know if gouache goes on the acrylic gesso that well, but maybe it does. But gesso you just do on paper. You don't need to do that. So if you have gesso on paper, if you have oil or acrylic, you could gesso some cardboard or any kind of heavy chipboard or whatever. Acrylic, if you're just on, you could do it in your sketchbook with acrylic. You don't have to gesso anything because it's just acrylic. It's not going to hurt the paper. The only thing that's going to hurt the paper is oils because it'll soak into the paper because it's got oil in it, right? And it'll destroy the paper. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense now.
Okay. And you could, you know, black and white, sepia, whatever. I would just do black and white. Keep it simple. Because even if you do blue or something, then you start getting caught up in the color. You just don't want to do that. You want to just go value, 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 right? And if you look at like real simple, hang on.
Because it's called James Gurney just came out with a video about like value, whatever.
Yeah, it's probably great because everything he does is great.
Yeah, I got it though, and it's like he talks about it like he starts off like the first painting with just black and white, then he introduces one color in the next painting, and then he'll do like 2 colors, but they're like complementary colors. Like he just shows how it works out, and like I don't know, like after watching, I was like, oh, that's how. I don't know, but I want to start doing more value stuff.
Yeah, I mean everything he puts out is just rock solid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, he's great for that kind of stuff.
And it's like super affordable too, like his videos.
How much was it?
It's like $15.
Wow.
And it's like a little over an hour long.
Yeah, I mean, his stuff. He's really nailed that. He's really smart. He's nailed that. He's nailed the threshold of the price point. It's got. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, it's more than worth what he's charging for it.
Mm-hmm.
And he probably sells the living hell out of them. You know. Because why wouldn't you? You know, here's another girl that's really interesting to look at from that perspective. And I'm always talking about silhouette. You want to talk about somebody who's got this idea of just a simple value thing down? Let me pull her up. I mean, look at these things. Basically one value or a couple of values, right? You know how hard that is to nail this kind of stuff? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Try and do That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Look.
He looks like a. Like, oh wow! It looks like from the movie called The Watchmen. The way.
Oh, Rorschach.
Yeah.
Look at that. Like when we do costume figure, you know, you can kind of take this idea and do some stuff like this. Okay? Because like when you look at that, it's going to look it's going to be like when she did this, if you walked into the room, you're like, if you try to break this down like that, it's not that easy to do. To just like break it down to basically almost one value, right? So I'm not saying just do it like this, but you know, do it different various ways. I was trying to find this other guy too. But she does this stuff with silhouette. And then she takes this, she takes this same idea and she does it with landscapes, right? Because these are basically just silhouettes she's working into silhouette. Does that make sense? James?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, you know, you could do simple versions of this kind of thing, you know, on location and stuff. I think this one right here is really nice. But most of her stuff is this idea of silhouette. It's almost like a value study. They're just really beautiful value studies. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I was trying to find something by this other guy. I'm not finding it. Hang on, one more thing. Oh wait, maybe it's this guy. Look at these. I mean, these are a lot of just one color things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
Oh, wow.
So when you're doing these things, I know when you're first learning them, but But the other thing I like about this guy is we're just talking about edges and all that kind of stuff. That's what this guy's about, right? Look at how simple that is. Right?
Yeah.
And the thing, like people do these value studies, and I don't care how you do them because you need to go through it, but I just like you to see how artistic this can go. And look at his edge control and look at his, whatever he's using to make marks, we call it brushwork. Look at his brushwork. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like you want to have that sort of art. Look how he starts them. What's he doing? He's blocking in big mass shapes, right?
Mhm.
He's a monster. Look at this one. There's a lot of this masked shape thing. You know, and then here he refines it. This is basically what we're doing right now, right? What he's doing right there is basically what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
So he's just refining it, big shape.
Yeah.
Inside of it, refines them, right? That's painting. That's not bullshit entertainment design painting. That's painting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You do not want to rely, and I'm not saying all the tricks and all that stuff aren't good. For time saving, all that stuff, they're great. But when you put that stuff too far ahead in your career, in your path, it'll screw you up. Okay? I see it all the time. Hey, look at my digital paintings. I go, it's not a painting. It's a photo bash. Oh yeah, it's photo bash. Okay, show me a painting. Oh, here's a painting. That's not a painting. That's been photo bashed. Oh yeah, here's one. That's not a painting. That's photo. It's like you don't even understand the difference between painting and photo bashing. This is painting. Okay? And this idea, the way he's breaking that down, is really the whole kind of idea. Big silhouettes, big shapes, work into the next shape, work into the next shape, refine, refine, refine. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And by the way, he's putting these down, you know, fairly accurately off the bat. Usually you're refining, and he does too. You're putting a shape down, then they call finding it in the paint. Then you kind of carve a shape out and go recarve it and reshape it. It's half sculpting, half drawing, painting, right?
Mhm.
Sort of a combination, you know. So then you're just refining your shapes. We're not machines. We don't go in there and put everything down in the perfect spot the first time. We have to sort of refine and figure it all out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think it's really important. I got hired actually at Fullerton. People don't even know this. I got hired as like a foundational teacher, okay? And I might have told you this, I don't know. And when I came in for the interview, they go, you're not going to want to teach foundation. You're going to want to teach all this advanced crap. And I go, no, I actually want to teach foundation. Because to me, foundation is the core of everything you're ever going to do. And you're never going to access anything except foundation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like as advanced as this guy is, I hope you can see in this video, it's exactly what we're doing. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And look how advanced he is. It's the same stuff we're doing. All you do is you get better at it, and you make more beautiful shapes and break up the edges in beautiful ways, and you get more artistic. And I don't care if you're going to go to illustration or entertainment design. I don't care what you're going into. Be an artist. Paint like an artist. People respond to it. There's a reason why Dan Gouze has worked for Imagineering for like 40 years or something. You know what I mean? Because his renderings and everything are insane. Because he's a painter. He's an oil painter. Then he comes in, he knocks out a rendering of Everest, and it just looks amazing. You know? Okay?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, questions? What I'm going to do on Monday, I was going to do it today, but actually I think this is a good discussion. I'm going to start going over the color process. So on Monday, I want everybody, I want to go over, I'll go over a little bit of value, one or two of them. I want to be able to have a talk about value because I want to take one of yours and I'm just going to start going over it in color. Okay? And then we're going to start going down the color rabbit hole. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
On Thursday?
On Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah. I actually feel way better now. I felt like crap when I got up today, but when I get into a class, it makes me feel better. This guy's name, by the way, is Zin Lamart. See, I'll put a link on it. I think this guy's awesome. Okay. Okay, you guys.
Oh, Mike.
Huh?
Oh.
I have to. Can I talk to you about something after?
Sure.
Can I too?
Sure. Okay. All right. So I'll see everybody on Tuesday. Okay.
Okay.
And then James and
Elijah.
I'll see you guys. And you guys are doing a good job, by the way. You keep
Okay.
pushing it. You keep listening. You keep getting better. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'll see you Tuesday.
Tuesday. Gotcha.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh,
Bye.
and
Elijah, I got an email from you, I think, right?
Yeah.
And you're just curious about.
Like, I don't know if I'll have like enough time.